Hello, hello, everyone. Hello, hello. It's a little after 12 on Wednesday, March 10th already. This is the second week of the month. Let me make my picture a little bit bigger. And we are going to be talking about basically how food and diabetes works. So let me do the gallery view. There we go. If you have any questions, just unmute yourself and raise your hand and call it out. And I'll repeat your question so that we can get on the recording. And the sun is shining on my page. I have two of the conversation maps up today. We're going to be talking about blood sugar. Oh, hi, Ted. Did you have a question? Okay, good. Good. So today we are going to be talking about how food affects our blood sugar, especially when we have diabetes. Welcome to Center on the Hill. This is the diabetes nutrition class. The first week of the month, we talk about just general diabetes and how it affects our health. And then the second week of every month, we're talking about how we can have better nutrition to have a healthier, life with diabetes is tough. If we can get the food as a healthy habit, then we don't have as many complications and we can live a full, healthy, active life, even though we have diabetes. So I'm here to help all of you guide your ways so that you don't have complications. And a lot of it is just forming a healthy lifestyle, and a big part of healthy lifestyle, besides exercise and social and, getting enough sun and doing things that make you happy, is food. So this page here is called, wait a minute, I guess, well, I thought each one of these was labeled, but this one is about your blood sugar. Blood sugar, the sugar in our blood glucose. This is energy, and we need energy. We're just like a car or anything. We need energy to work. So the best part of the thing that gives us the most energy is carbohydrates, is glucose. We can get glucose easily from carbohydrates, but we can also get glucose, sugar, from proteins and fats. So I think you all have heard the ketogenic diet, the keto diet. That's where people are getting their energy from more proteins and fats and hardly any carbohydrates. I do not recommend it. It is a tricky balance between having enough energy to function and diabetic ketoacidosis. So please watch how much fat you consume. We are in diabetes world. They're looking more and more about not so much the carbs. It's more the animal proteins, but it's a lot about the fats. So having a high fat diet, especially if it's the fats from, steak and chicken and I can't think of fish, all of these kind of animal proteins, these fats, if it's an excess of 30% of your calorie intake, this is, for example, most people weigh between, 150 and 200 pounds, around in that range. We need anywhere from 3 to 4 tablespoons of oil. That can be included in one steak. So that's why I'm saying about watch your animal intake. The same thing with cheese and eggs and fish and chicken and all these and even turkey. These can be low fat, but they are nowhere near as low fat as beans and seeds and nuts and tofu and seitan and tempeh and the different plant-based proteins out there. So that being said, let's talk about how you get energy. Like this one is this is an air balloon, a hot air balloon, and they're pumping hot air into it. Like your blood is getting glucose from the food that you eat, and you need the glucose for energy. There's monitoring your blood sugar, gives you information about your blood sugar levels. You can use these results to help make decisions about your meals and activity and medicine. So it's a good idea to check your blood sugar. I like the idea of checking your blood sugar at night. If you are someone who has a glucometer or are not on a continuous glucose monitor like Freestyle Libre or Guardian or Dexcom, and you're checking your blood sugar by pricking your fingers. Again, always prick the side of your finger. This tip is filled with nerve endings. So can you do this side? You can do this side, do this side, and this side, this side, this side. This. You use all your fingers. So think about when you're checking your blood sugar. A great time to check it is at night, like an hour before you go to bed. If you want to get your A1c down, you want to have your blood sugar in a good range for as much of the day and night as you can possibly do that. During the day, we eat food, we move around, it changes our blood sugar all over the place. If you check your blood sugar at night and you go to bed, definitely below 200. You can go below 180, that's good. Even if you get around 150, that's even better, because then as your nighttime goes on, the key is under 140, but after dinner, you may not see that number. But if you can go to bed at 140 or 170, something in that range, I would not recommend going to bed at 100. You may not have enough glucose to do well over the night, and your liver will give you some, and they don't have much to give. It gives you too much. You'll wake up with high blood sugar. So it's a really good idea to go to bed if you're going to check your blood sugar at a low amount. A good way to do that, if you are not checking your blood sugar, is have your dinner and leave a good 4 hours or so before you go to bed. And during that time, be active, digest your food and burn that sugar out of your bloodstream. So like I said, if you check your blood sugar and your blood sugar is 150, that's great. Go to bed, you're good. If you go to bed and you check your blood sugar and it is 200, then you may need to take a walk around the block, go on the exercise machine, drink a couple bottles of water. I know drinking water before night is not what I'd like you to do, because then you have to get up. But think about exercise and water. Those are two things that bring your sugar down, so that when you're going to sleep, you'll have a good 7 or 8 hours of your day that is the blood sugar is in good range. And again, you want to wake up between 70 and 140. If you wake up at 140, 139, that's actually a good blood sugar. That shows that people without diabetes wake up at that number. So that's a good thing. And then if you wake up at 180, then take a look at your breakfast. Don't have too much. Don't have many carbs. Do more of the eggs and the spinach, and so that you don't start your day off with a really high blood sugar. And the same is true as if you check your blood sugar during the day and you're having trouble getting it down before lunch and before dinner. You're having meals where your blood sugar is over 180, and you're about to sit down to a meal. And let's scale back on the size of the meal, and especially the carbohydrates in that meal. And the carbohydrates would be the refined grains like the breads and the cereals and oatmeal and all that kind of thing. The refined grains, and then fruits. Definitely juice will do it. And that kind of thing. So over here, they're pumping up, they're increasing their blood sugar so that their balloon can get the energy it needs up in the air. Again, the target that they were talking about is between, they say 80 and 130. I say 70 and 140. That would be the best range. Options for monitoring fasting means before breakfast, then before all your meals, 2 hours after your meals, and at bedtime. Some people have a blood sugar that is hard to manage, and they're always in the 200s, and they would be checking this often. If your blood sugar is normally between, under 140 and under 180, just doing it in the morning or just doing it at night would probably be the best. A high blood sugar, higher than, they say 130, but it's really higher than 140, is high blood sugar. Before meals, you want it to be under 140, 150, even 130. That would be nice if you could get it that low. We don't want to have a meal and you're sitting there at 180, because you're supposed to be 180 2 hours after the meal. And it says here about 180 2 hours after the meal. It's a really good time to have it's a really good idea to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as opposed to breakfast and a snack and lunch and a snack and dinner and a snack and having a snack before bed. It takes about 2 to 2.5 hours for your blood sugar to come back down to normal. And if you're going to add a snack every 2 or 2.5 hours, that's going to bring your blood sugar up the whole day. And the whole idea of reducing your A1c is that your blood sugar average is, between 70 and 140. So I would, if If you need to have a snack after breakfast, you didn't have enough breakfast. Think about breakfast foods that can hold you. Something with protein, something with fiber, something with a little bit of fat, like maybe peanut butter, or if you're going to spray a pan and have an egg, or if you're going to do oatmeal, don't do too many nuts in it, a couple tablespoons, not a quarter cup. That can be 200 calories and a good tablespoon and a half or more of oil just right there in that quarter cup of nuts. But a snack of a few nuts, less than a quarter cup, once a day is a nice snack. Let's see. Fruit is also a great snack. And I was at a food addiction conference at the end of February, and we were saying a couple things. One, that the things to look out for are SOS, salt, oil, and sugar. The two of them, all three of them, have a compound in them that is very similar in our body to morphine. So I don't know if you know this, but carbs want more carbs. Fried food wants more fried food. After steak, you're not looking for more broccoli, you're looking for more cake. So, the soil, SOS, the salt, the oil, and the sugar. The sugar can be a refined grain like bread, or it can be sweets. But the SOS, they want more SOS. So if you keep them to a minimum and you balance them with more vegetables and even fruits, that morphine draw won't be so strong, and you'll be able to have a healthy meal, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But if you're going to have a high carb breakfast, and you're going to want some carbs in the like 11 o'clock in the morning, and what is your lunch going to look like? Are you really going to go for a salad or a vegetable soup when you had so much sugar and donuts and things for the breakfast? No, you're going to want to have something sweet for the lunch too. And then, and it just keeps your blood sugar up the whole day. So take a look at, like I said, whole grain cereals, either the cream of wheat or the old fashioned oats. Quinoa is wonderful. You can add warm seasonings to them, like cardamom and turmeric, a little bit of curry, all of these things, maybe with some yellow raisins or some pecans and pecans. Again, just 3 or 4, grind them up, so you have a couple of tablespoons of ground nuts in there, putting on some almond milk instead of a cow's milk. These are all whole grain, anti-inflammatory nut milks and these kind of things, and they're delicious. Like I said, you can have oatmeal, you can have heated quinoa. That's like a little grain, and there's a whole bunch of different grains that you could have. That's just an idea. But again, looking at more protein things like the plant-based sausage, and eggs. The big thing with eggs, we don't want to have too many. There is an egg substitute out there, and I'm not a fan of egg substitutes, but this one's pretty good. It's called JUST, and it comes in a little yellow bottle. And I will say that makes a pretty nice scrambled egg. And if you saute up some vegetables in that pan, and then you add that JUST egg substitute in there with a little bit of cheese, or seasonings, onion powder or black pepper, whatever you like, some peppers, onions, mushrooms, whatever. I have to say it is very close to an egg. It's soft. It's rather sweet. There's all plant proteins with a little bit of turmeric and some seasonings in it. It's quite tasty. So, and then also there's the protein shakes. So again, these are going to be low carb, high protein breakfast to start your day, give you the energy you need without bumping your sugar up too high. Treatment of high blood sugar, drink extra sugar-free fluids. This would be herbal tea, water, seltzer, coffee. If you want to put some almond creamer is a great idea. If you really don't like the taste of your coffee, it's just too bitter, try the mild roast instead of, they have the dark roast, the medium, have the Italian or the French. Those are very dark. Take a look at the mild. Maybe you won't need so much sugar in that kind of coffee. Same thing with the black tea. Don't have the tea bag in the tea in the water for so long. Make it lighter. And also try sweetening things with either a teaspoon of sugar, a teaspoon of honey. Honey has a lot of different enzymes and nutrition in it than sugar does. And also, like I said, take a look at the condensed almond milk creamers. There's all these has one. There's one called from Silk, and there's one from Bliss. They're in the artificial creamer section, like Coffee Mate. Coffee Mate has a lot of chemicals in it, and so does International Delight, which is such a disappointment because they're delicious. but over in that section, you'll see the almond creamers, and those are low in chemicals, low in sugar, again, 25, 35 grams of or calories, carbohydrate, no calories, and they're really great. Let's see. Changes, treatment of high blood glucose, drink lots of water, adjust your meal plan. Again, don't have so many carbs if you're going into your meal with a high blood sugar, have more vegetables. And like I said, if you're going to have a snack between meals, look at fruits, look at pineapple, look at pears. These are high in fiber, delicious. Yeah, you have to cut them up, but they're really wonderful. Work with your healthcare team to adjust your medication. Possibly, if you're fighting high blood sugar all day long, maybe your medication, your glipizide is, or whatever your medication is not high enough. So talk to your medical people. Other ways that our blood sugar can go up is you can, if you skip a meal, like you wake up late, you don't have breakfast for a few hours, your blood sugar will go up within 2 hours of not eating. And then you go into lunch and, your blood sugar will be above 140. That's not good. Sickness. So whether you have a sore throat, maybe you have a toothache, if you have a headache, possibly you just got the COVID vaccine, let's hope, that will increase your blood sugar. Yes, that's great. If you all get it, it will increase your blood sugar. And, that vaccine triggers all of our immune response. And of course, it raises our blood sugar. So drink water. That's a great way. And just know that day you're going to have high blood sugar. And don't try to fight it too much. Don't give extra medicine or anything. It is just what it is. If your blood sugar is above 250, 225, and you are on insulin, or you can talk to your medical professional and find out if you need to take more medicine. But I'm glad to see everybody out there getting their second shot. Holidays and special occasions, they are something that are very important in our lives. So plan for them. If you know that you're going to go to somebody's house and you're to have cake or champagne or whatever it is, have a nice meal with lots of vegetables and very low carbs. Go over there. Hopefully you can get over there within 2 hours and enjoy those foods. And moderately, everything in moderation. Travel and vacation. Yeah, if you go to different time zones, or you're in a different restaurant, or you have a different sleep schedule, yeah, that's going to mess up your blood sugar. But it is interesting. If you typically have breakfast, lunch, and dinner at like 8, 12, and 6, 8, 12, and 6 every day, 8, 12, and 6, and then you're someplace else and yet it's a different time and you're going to have breakfast at some other time, your blood sugar will still go up at 8, 12, and 6. It's very strange. So keep that in mind, and, drink lots of water and stay hydrated and that kind of thing. Your A1c, this is the frosting on our red blood cells. Our blood has glucose in it, has some sugar in our blood. Our blood cells come out of our bone marrow, goes into the bloodstream. There's no sugar on those blood cells because they're fresh into our bloodstream. And as they swim around in that sweet blood, some sugar attaches to the red blood cells and it becomes a little bit frosted. And people without diabetes, there's only about 5.5% of the coverage of the surface coverage of the red blood cells. 5.5% are frosted. People who have pre-diabetes, it's 5.7% to 6.5% frosting. And then people with diabetes is over 6.5% frosting. And if your high blood sugar is coating your red blood cells, that doesn't mean that that's how it has to be. Include more anti-inflammatory foods. Get more exercise, drink adequate water or more water, and not so much sweet foods in your life. Have smaller meals. These kind of things all can bring your blood sugar down, and it actually can reverse diabetes. So there's a number of people who have reversed diabetes on a vegan diet. If that's something you want to try, I can help you transition to a semi-vegan diet or even a full vegan diet if you want to. But I don't recommend it. Mostly because I want you to be able to do something that fits in your lifestyle. Now, if your children are vegan and your neighbors and your friends are all vegan, hallelujah. I would love to help you to be a vegan. And again, people who are vegan, they don't have to be vegan 7 days a week. They can be vegan Monday through Thursday. And then on the weekend, they'll have some vegetarian meals. They'll have some, chicken or fish or whatever, have some eggs, and then go back to being vegan Monday through Thursday. So it's really just a choice of how you know that you can live your life. But I will tell you, I'm older. When I got into nutrition, I was a landscape architect, and I got into Drexel at, I don't know, age 49 or something, graduated when I was 50, and all those girls in there, everybody in class had basically long blonde hair. It was pretty funny. But basically, they were having tofu, and they were having all these bean dishes and chickpea. And I'm just like, I don't know if I want to do that. And then my kids went to college, and I thought I would experiment. I have to tell you, the flavor palette just multiplies. So take a look at these curried chickpeas. Take a look at the chorizo seitan. Take a look at doing these different dishes with. You don't always have, chicken, fish, and beef, chicken, fish, and pork. That you have so much more of a variety when you can adopt some of these plant-based meals. Again, I have a ton of recipes. Contact me, and I'll help you if you're interested. So again, I'm Kirsten Puskar with Ambler Nutrition. And knowing your A1c. Okay, so if your A1c is 6%, so that's in the pre-diabetes range, your average blood sugar is about 126. So between your lows and your highs, you're averaging around 126. And the way people are having really bad diabetes with a really good A1c is they're having a lot of hypos. Those are called hypoglycemia, low blood sugar. So they may have some in the 70s and in the 50s and the 60s, and then they'll have somebody in 250s and the 270s. So this averages out to the 126. That's why I'm a little hesitant about the A1c. I would really rather you keep your blood sugar, again, between 70 and 180 after meals. Don't be checking your blood sugar 15 minutes after you ate. You'll have a heart attack. It is really high. Often it will get, for many people, it will go over 200, but within 2 hours, it'll come back down to the 180s, 170s. So just, don't even be looking at your blood sugar an hour after you eat. We give yourself a good 2 hours, a couple hours, a little bit longer. Let's see. So over here, this is a balloon that lost air, and it's down into the riverbank. It's on the very bottom. They had low blood sugar. So low blood sugar is below, it's supposed to be below 80, but I know that I can be in the 70s and be fine. I've talked to other people who are in the 70s and they're fine. So sometimes it might be, for people who have a high blood sugar in the 180s to 190s all the time, 120 might make them feel like this balloon here on the riverbank, with very weak, shaky, all that kind of thing, confused. The low blood sugar is the worst. So we want to avoid that. And again, we avoid low blood sugar by having meals that can sustain us from, breakfast to lunch and from lunch to dinner. And then after dinner, you should really be able to ruin your dinner with your lunch, so that after dinner, you're so full, you'll just have a cup of soup, maybe a little salad, and even then, watch the news, do a little activity, and go to bed. That would be the best thing. But it is not always how we can fit into our lives. So the low blood sugar, if you do have low blood sugar, and you're getting that shakiness and hunger and confusion, the best way is to have a half a glass of juice, something with some sugar in it, either 2 or 3 glucose tabs with some water. If you want to do, I don't recommend candy. If it's hard candy, you're going to have to chew it. And if it's going to be a candy bar, there's a lot of fat in, Three Musketeers or the Snickers or the Milky Way, all these candies. There's a lot of fat in a Reese's cup. So it will take so much longer for you to get back up to feel good. You have a half a glass of juice or a half a glass of soda, with sugar in it, bam, you feel your sugar will come up in 15 minutes. You can check on your watch and see what time you ate to see if the 15 minutes, and see how you feel. But if you don't look at your watch, I know if when you have low blood sugar, you want to eat everything in the house. so just keep to the half a glass of juice and look at your watch, and then see 15, 20 minutes later if you feel better. And if you don't feel better, then have another half glass of juice. And again, move around, have some water. You could be dehydrated, a whole bunch of different things. But if you check your blood sugar and it's low blood sugar, that's a good thing. Do you have a question, Ted? You got to unmute yourself. Can I unmute you?
You were talking about those tabs. I've taken them just as a try. They're kind of bitter. I mean, there's like orange tabs, but they get in your system. I mean,
Yeah. The idea is that they're talking about the orange tabs, the glucose tablets,
Yeah.
and they are not supposed to be yummy. If they're yummy, then people are snacking on them. Oh, I just want a little something sweet. And no, these are not sweet. They're not delicious. All they do is bring your blood sugar up. Honestly, they just need to be a starch. So they could be like mashed potatoes, and I don't know what they're made out of, but if you want something sweet after dinner, that is not it. But like I said, I had a woman, she liked little lifesavers, and she knew that 3 lifesavers were 15 grams of carbs. She would chew them up and drink a glass of water, and they were so yummy. And even when she doesn't have low blood sugar, she'd have a couple. And then one time she had low blood sugar, and she goes in her purse, there's no more lifesavers left. So a little story like that. But I've heard of other things like the children's little gummies, fruit snacks. They are a good thing because you can't always have like a half a glass of juice around. The little juice boxes for kids, that's a good one. You're looking for 4 ounces and about 15 or 20 grams of carbs. Another thing is if you have diabetes, you really should look at whether it's pre-diabetes, diabetes, type 2 or type 1, gestational diabetes, any kind. You really should have a prescription for glucagon. Glucagon is a hormone that releases sugar from your muscles and your liver. And you can have it as a spray that goes up your nose. You can have it in an injection that you mix, an injection that you don't have to mix. Generally, these things are good for 1 to 2 years. Talk to your doctor, make sure you have a prescription, and you either have it in your car or in your purse or in your wallet or in your desk or whatever, so that in case something does happen, you can quick dial 911 before you hit the floor and be passed out, but at least somebody can come there and know that they can give you the glucagon and they can revive you. The ambulance, typically they do have glucagon, but I think that is a big charge. I don't know. If you can have your neighbor give it to you, that would be even better. So just make sure that also diabetes, the Medicaid medical bracelets. I've seen at Walmart, especially online, they have some really nice bracelets. They can look like a men's watch or a big black band like a men's bracelet. Of course, there's beautiful things for women. I have heard of people who tattoo, but I feel that from what I've heard, the EMTs are not really going to read your tattoos. They will look at bracelets. They will look at jewelry, necklaces, and bracelets that say you have diabetes. But take a look at them. I got to say, they're quite styling, and they're not like the medical looking type of thing anymore, and it's something to think about. Okay, so let's see what else we got. The low blood sugar, again, you want to have 15 or 20 carbs with some water to revive yourself. Just give yourself energy again, but if you pass out, you want to have that glucagon. Let's see what else. A steady path is the key to the good flight. Yeah, so when they're increasing the hot air in the balloon, like you're increasing your blood sugar after meals, you have a nice flight during the day, and then you're ready to wake up in the morning after a nice sleep, and you're in good blood sugar. Is there, go for your goal and make sure that, like I said, a great time to check your blood sugar is just before you go to, an hour before you go to bed. Get your blood sugar in a nice range so that you have a nice 8 hours of good blood sugar. And then you wake up in the morning and it goes all crazy all day long. So is there any questions? Oh, there's a chat. Let's take a look. It says, when you ask for questions, you have someone joining a call on the phone, tell them to press *6 to unmute. Oh, okay. So if you have a question and you're on a phone, you are on mute. If you want to unmute, it was it's in the chat. It says *6, *6 on your phone, and then you can unmute yourself. Just an FYI. Okay, so this is about blood sugar. And here we go. About food. As a dietitian, of course, I love talking about food. Again, I'm a dietitian and a certified diabetes care and education specialist. Ambler Nutrition, but I'm so happy to be here on Center on the Hill to do this diabetes nutrition class. And like I said, we do it the first 2 weeks in every month. So here we have a little downtown area. There's a farmer's market going on. There's a little picnic going on over here. They're sitting at picnic tables. There's a little ice cream going on, and some people are picking some ice cream. And one guy, he has a red face and he's looking kind of grumpy. He thinks because he has diabetes, he can't have anything sweet. We know that's not true. We just want to balance in our meals. And our meals, we're going to have, the protein, the fat, and we're going to have the carbohydrates and the fiber. The vegetables, those don't raise our blood sugar too much, but they do a little bit. If we know that we want to have some ice cream with everybody later, that's what our meals are going to be. If we are not going to have ice cream or something after a meal, then we would have, the bread or the French fries or the foods that go with the simple carbohydrates go with a lot of different foods. So just so you know, all foods are able to eat. As a person with diabetes, you can eat every food. If you have kidney disease and your doctor has told you that specifically your blood pressure is too high, your sodium is too high, your potassium is too high, your phosphorus is too high, then you restrict those foods that have the phosphorus or the potassium, depending on what your doctor says. There is a huge problem with kidney disease and malnutrition. Unfortunately, it's not just the potassium and the phosphorus and the sodium that they're restricting. They're also restricting the protein. The point where people who are over age 65, they call them geriatric for some reason, but the older people with the kidney disease, they are having cachexia, which is, and sarcopenia, which is muscle wasting. So we're in the United States of America. Why would people be having, this extreme malnutrition and muscle wasting? And it's because they're being told they can't have any tomatoes, potatoes, bananas, and oranges that have high potassium in them. They can't have protein at meals. They got to have a no protein diet. This has definitely been changed. The American Society of Nephrologists they're so worried about this geriatric malnutrition with protein that they are recommending 1.1 grams to 1.4 grams per kilogram of body weight. This is what bodybuilders do. This is a lot of protein. The average protein should be between 0.6 to 0.8 grams per kilogram. And that is what I recommend. If you come to see me and you are all sullen and you need to gain weight, your BMI is below 19, then we will talk about more than 1 gram per kilogram of protein. But if you weigh 220 pounds, then you're 100 kilograms. If you are half of that, 110 pounds, then you weigh 50 kilograms. So just think about 100 kilograms, and you need 1 gram per kilogram as a human being, whether you have kidney disease or not. This is 100 grams of protein a day. If you divide that by 3, this is 35 grams per meal. A chicken thigh is about 21 grams. So think about, you might have to have a couple chicken thigh for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner. I mean, this is a lot of protein, and this is what they are recommending if you're having muscle wasting. So the food groups that we want to have is the carbohydrates. That's the vegetables, the fruits, the complex grains. Yes, we're going to have some refined grains in our life that just balance it out with half your plate is vegetables. And usually that works out to be about 2 cups. So if it's in the morning, you might have a cup of berries and a little spinach with your eggs. If it's for lunch, you're going to have a cup of lettuce and a couple of vegetables, again, in your salad, or a cup of vegetable soup. That's vegetables that have been condensed into a soup. And then the same with dinner. You might have, your meat and your starch, and then you will have a cup of broccoli, and then another cup of asparagus or carrots or onions and peppers. You might have an onions and pepper sauce on, your chicken or whatever you're going to do. Onions and spinach, or mushrooms and spinach, and I can think of so many delicious ways to have a couple of cups of vegetables with your dinner. And if you can snack on fruit, that even adds to those 5 cups of vegetables a day. So like I said, take a look at the pineapple now. You can get it already cut up. If you The best pineapple, though, is fresh. So you buy a pineapple; they're usually kind of green when you get them. Let them sit on the counter for a couple of days. They'll not be as green. They won't be yellow, but they will not be as green. You cut off the top and the bottom. You cut off the skin, with a big sharp knife, and then that big slippery thing, you cut it into quarters, and then you've got these wedges, and then you just cut that center part of the wedge out to get all that core. And then, boy, that pineapple is so good. I hope that it will last 3 or 4 days for you guys. We've had it last a day and a half in our house. My husband ate the whole thing. I'm like, I wanted to have it for so many days. So take a look at snacking on fruit. That was the other thing at the food addiction conference. They wanted you to avoid the SOS, the salt, the oil, and the sugar, but or just keep it to a minimum amount, balance it with a lot of vegetables, and snack on fruit. Look at the blueberries aren't that great right now. Wait until later in the summer. But like I said, the pineapple is delicious. Pears, you buy them hard. You let them sit on the counter for a couple of days. They start to turn a little more yellow. And boy, they're just juicy and delicious. One pear is 9 grams of fiber. That's all you need in one meal. So take a look at the pears. And that kind of thing. So again, here the people are having a picnic, and they know that if they're going to have the popsicles and things, they're going to keep the French fries and the bread and stuff to a minimum. Then over here, this is where everybody brings food to potluck. Again, this is a great idea to try. Don't try out your recipes. Bring a recipe that you know is delicious, so that you can have mostly your food that is a good balance of hopefully a lot of different vegetables and lean proteins, whether it's going to be the smoky tofu or the fake and bacon or grilled chicken. But just make sure that you don't have a lot of fat with it and lots of vegetables. And then try a small portion of everybody else's. It's a delicious thing, and because you had most of your meal as vegetables and lean proteins, you're not going to increase your blood sugar too much. You're going to get the nutrition that you need, and it's going to be great. Meal planning. Actually, let me tell you something about vegetables. I was raised, if you can't eat everything that's on your plate, at least eat the protein. This is how we get diabetes, and we also get malnutrition that way. It turns out that all these vitamins and minerals, like if you think about a multivitamin, all those vitamins and minerals, we think that's only 10% of what you get out of broccoli or carrots or cabbage or cauliflower. All of the nutrients are in the plants. They're not in the animals. They're not in the proteins. The proteins has some amino acids, but so do the vegetables. And the vegetables have these enzymes that can turn those animal amino acids into our muscle. So if you're going to have all this hamburgers and chicken and hot dogs and stuff, have twice as much vegetables, and you'll have those enzymes to turn those amino acids into your muscles. So definitely, if you don't feel like eating too much, just have the vegetables. I know it sounds crazy, but that's where the nutrients are. And again, there's a lot of B vitamins in the grains. So a lot of people want to say, oh, I'm going to lose weight, I'm not going to have many carbs. They lose out on the B vitamins, and the B vitamins are the ones that give us the energy. So take a look at, I'm sorry about that. Take a look at, having whole grains, having a lot of vegetables. And if you want to, you can add some animal protein, chicken, cheese, eggs, whatever you want, just a little bit. So again, meal planning, think about getting the frozen vegetables. There's a grocery store thing. They're talking about just trends in the grocery store. And they're saying that the fresh fruits and vegetables are sitting on the shelves and they're running out of the frozen vegetables. And I don't know if you've been to the grocery store lately, but yeah, the frozen vegetable section is usually, there's a lot of bare spots, where the fruits and vegetables in the produce section are doing, pretty well stocked. Yeah, they're definitely well stocked. And they're feeling that people are not going to the grocery stores often. We're going every 10 days. And if that's the case, broccoli and cauliflower don't last 12 days. Where frozen, they do. So take a look, definitely shop during the week. You can shop like a half an hour before the store closes. You'll have the biggest choices because they stock everything up before the next day, and you won't have a lot of people there. But definitely plan to have, 3 or 4 cups of vegetables for every member of your family every day. if they're up for it. I would like you to persuade them, but I wish we could spread the word that plants are where we get our nutrition, not from, chicken. Oh my gosh, with the chicken already. Okay, so meal planning, definitely think about what vegetables you're going to have for all these meals. Spinach goes with so many things. You can get onions and peppers frozen and chopped already. They're less expensive. Edamame beans are soybeans that, can add so much protein. Half a cup is 10 grams already to your salads and your soups and that kind of thing. So take a look at the frozen stuff, and also the canned beans, canned diced tomatoes, even canned carrots. Oh my gosh, the marinated artichoke hearts and pickled beets. These are all in the canned section. So they're all vegetables. They're all good for you. Nutrition labels. A lot of people look at the sugar. The food companies want you to look at the sugar because they've tricked all of the fillers that are carbohydrates and took out all the sugar. So I have seen candy wrappers where it says on there 3 grams of sugar per serving, and the serving is, 6 pieces or something. It's because of all the fillers. The carbohydrates is still at 90, but the sugar is only at 3. So I'm saying that is very misleading. The food companies know this. So just take a look at, the carbohydrates. And again, we want to have our carbohydrates. If you are, like between 140 and 200 pounds, you're looking at probably 45 or maybe 50 grams per meal. So if something says it has 100 grams of carbohydrates, you're going to cut it in half. And if the 100 grams of carbohydrates, it only has 10 grams of protein, you're going to add a protein source to that, whether it's going to be some peanut butter or some nuts or some beans if it's a soup, or, that kind of thing. But anyway, so you want to have 10 to 15 grams of protein per meal. You want to have anywhere from 8 to 50 grams of carbs per meal. Fat wise, you want to keep it under 20 grams for sure. If you can keep it under 10 grams, that's even better. And these are just ballpark numbers. If it's a little bit more, a little bit less, but you don't want multiples of those kind of things. So nutrition facts label, again, I always look at the protein. I look at the carbohydrates. I don't really care about the calories. I don't know, unless you all are doing your MyFitnessPal and typing in what your calories are. I don't really like to do that. I like to fill up on vegetables. There's not a lot of calories in it. Keeps us full, gives us our nutrition, helps us lose weight. It also helps us gain weight. Right now I have 3 patients who I've been able to help them gain weight. They were trying to gain weight with donuts and potatoes and all French fries and all this kind of stuff. Once we got them onto having the good enough protein and ample vegetables, they all did really well. In about 3 months, they were all able to gain anywhere from 20 to 30 pounds. So I was very happy. And it was muscle. Their pants fit nicely, and they weren't weak and all that kind of thing. So then we have all the different challenges you might face. So the first one, family celebrations. Like I said, if you're going somewhere for cake and champagne or fried food and beer, have a good meal beforehand so that these are more the carbohydrates of your meal. The same thing with dinner parties. If it's a potluck, and bring something that is high in protein and vegetables and fiber and low in fat, that you can have most of your plate and then have the taste of everybody else's. Sporting events. So the tailgate parties, there's going to be a lot of fat there. So if you want to bring something, I don't know, that is really tricky. I just know that for your meals, maybe you eat before you go and you just snack on these things, but just be careful. There could be a lot of fat in the sausages on the grill, and I know maybe they do some mushrooms or something, but that's not typically tailgate food. But what tailgate food is. And if you want to bring your own, if you want to, again, if you're going to have beers, have some seltzer or have some water that you alternate with the beers. But generally, the sporting events, food places are not nutritious. They're going to be a lot of, big dough of hoagies and pizza and things that you're not going to do well on. A lot of grease, and if you can have a meal beforehand, you'll be better. But they often do have popcorn and some other things that might be healthy. And I hate to say healthy, but I just don't want you to do great on your life, and then you go to one of these events, and then the next day you feel terrible and you have either high blood sugar or upset stomach or whatever it is. So keep in mind about the sporting events, you may have to eat beforehand, or for your tailgate, you bring something that you like to have. And again, it could be, you have a marinated chicken or shrimp that's low in fat that you could put on the grill, or, that kind of thing. Eating alone, I've done this many times, whether my husband is there or not. And if it's in front of me, I will eat it. And that's very easy to do. So take a look at, making yourself a plate, making yourself a bowl of whatever you're going to have a snack in the portion size that you want to have. And that way, you're going to keep to your lifestyle. And then again, sick days. Sick days is important. Your blood sugar is going to go up. It's as if you're eating cake all day long. So whether you have a stomach bug and you're not eating anything, if you have some other kind of infection, maybe hopefully you didn't break your leg, hopefully you don't have COVID, all of these kind of things, you want to continue taking your medication. And again, if you know that this sickness is going to last a longer time and you're just at the beginning of it, you might want to talk to your doctor about changing your medication doses. Hey, my blood sugar's been up, over 200 for 2 days. I have this, 104-degree fever, blah, 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 whatever it is. But keep in touch with your medical team and try to drink water. Or, I can't recommend the diet ginger ale. If you're going to have some ginger ale, keep it to like 8 or 12 ounces for the whole day. I know that ginger does help your stomach feel better. If you want to, grate a little bit of ginger or slice a piece of fresh ginger into a seltzer, that might help. But it's not good to do the artificial sweetener. That I would prefer you had the full-blown ginger ale and you had it in 4 ounces, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with water, as opposed to just sitting there drinking the sugar-free ginger ale, 8 ounces, 8 ounces, 8 ounces. That is just really hard on the bugs that live in our gut that help us heal and are a big part of our 70% of our immune system. So the artificial sweeteners are really bad for those guys. But other than that, yes, artificial sweeteners do not cause weight gain themselves, but they will give you a sweet mouth where vegetables don't taste that great. So if you want to have that sweetness, just know that broccoli is not going to be as yummy as one of the days you don't have that. Over here, we have Greasy's Burger Joint. Yeah, like I said, oil, when you have it, whether it's a fried food or a pesto or you're sauteing vegetables in oil, try to use as little as possible. I've changed my pesto recipe. Instead of a 1/4 cup of oil, I use a couple of tablespoons with a 1/4 cup of water. And I can't believe it, but it works out great. Tastes wonderful, and it doesn't have that high fat that the olive oil would give in a regular pesto. The first thing it does when you eat it goes right into your bloodstream, goes right for those insulin receptors so that the insulin can't get in there. The insulin can't open the cell doors. The sugar stays in our bloodstream and it increases. So if you do go and have something that is greasy, just know your blood sugar is going to be up for like 3 or 4 hours. You can drink water. You can try to exercise. I have found that is not very effective. The best way is to avoid having something that has more than, a couple tablespoons of oil in it, because that's the problem. Over here we have, let me just make sure you don't have any questions. No. Over here we have Mike's Bar and Grill. This is alcohol. So alcohol is actually a toxin for us. And men have this great enzyme that can break that toxin down called alcohol dehydrogenase. Women have about 1/3 or 1/4 of what men have. So if you are going to have some alcohol, just know that that causes a stress to your body, and that is the stress of the toxin causes your blood sugar to go up. Of course, you're going to mix a rum and Coke and it's going to be a regular Coke. Yeah, that's going to stress your body, or it's going to increase your blood sugar because Coca-Cola raises your blood sugar. But if you're having a big meal, that often can dilute out that toxic alcohol. And, there's nothing like having a beer with spaghetti, but have some of the spaghetti and meatballs first. The carbohydrates from the spaghetti, the fats from the cheeses and stuff, and the fiber in the blood, in the tomato sauce. And then the protein of the meatballs, all of those coat your stomach and your intestines. So then the alcohol and also the simple carbs can't get in first. So when you're ordering Chinese food, don't eat the rice and the noodles first. They go right into your bloodstream right away. So have, the vegetables and the meat, the same thing, the red sauce and the cheese and the meatballs and stuff before you dig into the noodles. And again, all of those have that before you're going to do the alcohol, whether it's going to be beer or wine or whatever it is going to be. Let's see over here. At the bottom, we have the food groups, the macronutrients, the carbohydrates, the proteins, and the fats. But fiber is really important. Fiber from vegetables, that's the only place we can get fiber. There's no fiber in beef or chicken or eggs or cheese or yogurt. None of those have any fiber. It's always from the plants, from the grains, from the vegetables, from the fruits. So that's why I have carbohydrates and fiber over here. And the bugs that live in our intestines and our stomach, they thrive on this fiber. So the more fiber you have, the more variety of bugs you have, the bigger community you have, the more they can absorb nutrients for you. They can resist disease because they're 70% of our immune system. The more fiber we can get in, we want about 10 grams per meal. So that could be a pear. Apple is 5 grams. Just take a look at the fiber. And if you're having half your plate as plants, whether it's salad or broccoli or whatever it's going to be, you're definitely going to be there. Beans. So carbohydrates and fiber, the proteins. And again, it can be plant proteins like beans and nuts and tofu and seitan and all that, or it can be animal proteins. So that's going to be eggs and cheese and dairy and chicken and beef and fish and all that. And then the fats. Fats pretty much go with proteins, whether it's chicken skin or nut oils or, there's always, some fat that goes with the chicken. If you're going to saute vegetables, technique that they said at this conference was to saute onions and mushrooms first. They make a lot of, put a little bit of oil if you have to, but try doing it in a medium to hot pan, medium to high, and then that makes a lot of juices. The oil, the onions and the mushrooms release a lot of liquid, and then you can raise the heat up a little bit more and add, if you're going to saute some beans or some other things in there. Doesn't that sound good? Onions and mushrooms and beans. I'm getting hungry right now. The vitamins and the minerals are mostly in the plants, the carbohydrates. We do want to have water. That's really important. Dehydration is a big part of having chapped lips in the winter, having cracked toes, blurred vision at the end of the day. Your eyes are all sticky and dry, dry skin, dry hair, your hair's falling out. You take your weight and you divide it by 3. That's how many ounces you are. So if you weigh 300 pounds, you need to have 100 ounces. That's about a gallon. Hopefully nobody is around 300 pounds. I think The Rock is 270. So he's like 6'7" and he's full of muscle. So there's nobody who needs to be over 300 pounds. We want to keep everybody in the, everybody's different. Some people are Chihuahuas. They're just little people. Some people are St. Bernards and Great Danes, and they're just big people. So whatever your family is like, you want to be the healthiest part of you. We want to have you have bigger shoulders and muscles and leg muscles and stuff, not really big guts. Big bellies, you don't need to have really big bellies. Let's see. So having carbohydrates and proteins and fats with every meal. So you look at the carbohydrates and the proteins and you're going to be good. And again, the carbohydrates, it's not just the grains, it's also the vegetables and the fruits. Here we have some categories of foods. Here we have starches over here at this, I'm going to start over here. I always start over there and I'm going to start over here. So this is the fats and the sweets, which is funny that they put that in here. They have pizza and donuts. Yes, they do have a lot of fats in them. Somehow they don't have, olive oil and pesto, but those are in the fat section. And then the sweets, of course, anything that has a lot of sugar in it, whether it's donuts or candy or cake or popsicles. Again, these are not off limits. We just want to have them in balance with the proteins and the other carbohydrates. Now they have the meat. So they have a steak and a fish and sausages, and they have eggs, and I think that's cheese, and I don't know what he's got in his hand, but that's animal protein. And again, that causes inflammation. The sweets and the fats also cause inflammation. The vegetables, they reduce inflammation. Yay! So whether it's cabbage or eggplants or cucumbers or peppers or tomatoes and potatoes, these are all, I just showed 5 vegetables at that stand. You know, there's going to be way more vegetables than that. There is an issue with having too much nightshade. I have a few people who are having knee pain, and it happens that they've just been eating a lot of nightshade food. They're experimenting with, it's funny, the bunch of people have been doing recipes over the COVID quarantine, and they're experimenting with eggplant. So eggplant and potatoes and tomatoes and peppers, they have a flower that comes out at night. They're called nightshades. Those 4 things, if you're going to eat a lot of them over the course of several weeks, it can have this solanine or some kind of a compound in there that does cause joint pain. So if you have joint pains, look at your diet and see, am I eating a lot of potatoes and tomatoes? Am I eating a lot of, peppers and eggplant? Peppers and eggplant. I don't know if you're eating a lot of those, but if you're having a lot of potatoes and tomatoes, go have none of those 4 things for 4 days and see what happens. And if your pain goes away, yay. But I would rather you look at your diet and see what inflammatory foods like animal proteins and sugars and fats and things are causing that you might be able to reduce. Oh my gosh, it's almost 1 o'clock. So milk, I will also put beans in this category because milk and beans are half carbohydrates, half protein. And of course, the nut milks have no protein in them. So soy milk, cow's milk, those are the 2 that have protein in them. And again, it's half carbohydrates and half protein, whether it's a bean, if it's a regular yogurt. Greek yogurt is almost all protein, so that's why it's so thick. Over here we have fruit. Again, that is like vegetables. It's anti-inflammatory, has lots of fiber. All of our nutrients come from the fruits and the vegetables. And then over here, they just call this starch. But there are starches in fruits, in potatoes, and carrots, and beets, and there's starches in bagels and donuts and all that kind of thing. So it's kind of weird over here, but I guess they need grains because they have breads and popcorn and little muffins and things like that. So all these different foods are usually combinations of the food groups. But if we can have all 3, the carbohydrates, the proteins, and the fiber and the fats in our meal, like I said, try not to have too much fat. A bigger person needs about 4 tablespoons. Again, this is close to 300 pounds. A smaller person needs only 2 tablespoons. This is like 120, 150 pounds. And everybody in the middle between 150 and 200, you need about 3 tablespoons. So that is less than a quarter of a cup of nuts. That's 3 tablespoons is when you're thinking about fats, it's 60 grams. So you want to have less than 20 grams of fat per meal, if you want to figure it that way. If we have any questions, I have all these nutrition news that came in. I'm just going to read the highlights because unfortunately I only have a couple minutes. I think we started a few minutes late. High fructose corn syrup can harm the immune system. It has something to do with the gut biome. So try not to have a lot of high fructose corn syrup. If you have a little bit, it's in here and there, I'm not worried about it. Vitamin supplements can cut the risk of type 2 diabetes progression. So vitamin D we get from the sun. And if you know that you're not going to be outside much, because of your life or whatever, look at having 1,000 IUs of vitamin D in as little capsules that you would take once a day. Calcium can be found in many places other than milk. Absolutely, all the green vegetables. Broccoli is high in calcium. Almonds too, nuts, they're high in calcium. A lot of protein cereals like Special K protein or Kashi Go Lean, they're high in calcium. They're fortified. Same thing, they're high in iron and also. The benefits of artichokes. Artichokes are, they can come in a little jar and they're pickled, super high in fiber. They have a anti-tumor enzyme in them. So if ever you were to get a tumor in your skin or something, it draws the blood vessels to get to that tumor to feed it. Artichokes cut that off. And they're, like I said, amazing fiber, anti-cancer, really good. High meat intake raises the risk for diabetes and heart disease. This is what I've been talking about. This is inflammation foods, high red meat intake. Actually, it doesn't even red meat. It just says meat. So that's chicken and fish and beef and pork, all of these things. If you're going to have mostly those meats and hardly any vegetables, then you are going to be at a higher risk for prediabetes, diabetes, heart disease, all these kind of things. How to tell if a diet has too much fat. Let me just read this quickly. Eating foods with too much fat can cause bloating, belching, gas. Many can result in a person experiencing loose stools, having diarrhea, especially if their diet was also lacking in fiber. A high-fat diet can also cause tiredness, fatigue, and registered dietitian over here, she says high-fat diets can lead to weight gain, of course, and problems with falling or with staying asleep. So if you're a person who wakes up in the middle of the night a lot and you can't get back to sleep, you may have too much fat in your diet. So again, we're looking at 2 or 3 tablespoons. Spring foods that promote gut health, it's all the fruits and vegetables. So look at the asparagus, look at the cabbage that's coming up, all the herbs, all these kind of things are wonderful. Anti-inflammatory, really good for our health. Study ties a diet to glucose control with prolonged sitting. So people who are sedentary, who are sitting all day long, even though they're not having a high carb meal, they could have high blood sugars. So take a look at moving around, trying to get up every hour just for 5 minutes, walk around the house. If after breakfast and after dinner, if you can go out for walk around the neighborhood for a half an hour, that's so good for you. Exercise improves our circulation, and that improves our kidney health, our heart health, any kind of organ. It really improves our organs. And this improved circulation doesn't stop when you come home. It lasts 4 to 6, even 8 hours afterwards. So that's why I'm saying if you can be active for 20 minutes, half an hour after breakfast and 20 minutes, half an hour after dinner, now it's going to be warm the next 3 days. We're looking at 70 almost. Yay! Let's see what else to say. Too much fat. How to combat tiredness while following a vegan diet. That is going to be getting enough grains and getting enough protein. So yes, you can there's some vegans who just have vegetables. God bless them, but no way. You got to have some protein in there, and you got to have some whole grains for vitamin B. And the protein is for iron. And iron goes onto your red blood cell and attracts oxygen so that you can oxygenate your organs when you're having that circulation from the exercise. And that oxygen is what gives you energy. But if you don't have enough iron in your diet, and that does come from beans and nuts and things and lentils and stuff like that. But if you're not getting enough protein, chances are you're not getting enough iron, and then you're getting to be tired. Combat pain with inflammatory foods. There's all these articles about arthritis. So to relieve arthritis pain, to relieve, basically that's what ibuprofen is. It's an anti-inflammatory. So you can take ibuprofen or you can have a bowl of broccoli. Something to think about. But it was really good to see everybody. Again, I'm Kirsten Puskar. My phone number is 215-527-4193. I'm with amblernutrition.com. And if you have any questions, you can email me through my website. You can call me. My email address is my name, kfpuskar@gmail.com. But I would love to help anybody with their personal nutrition goals. And like I said, today is the second Wednesday of the month. So I will see you in April. And the good news is they're looking at possibly having a tent. So maybe in April we will be face to face.
It's not a maybe. It's happening.
Maybe
I was like, it's not a maybe. We're having the tent back. It's actually coming back in about a week. So
okay.
starting in April, we'll be outside in the tent on the first 2 Wednesdays of the month.
I'm so excited to see everybody again face to face. But either way, I probably will do Zoom if we're in the Harris room, or we don't know. We'll find out in the beginning of April, right?
But no, you're going to be outside in the tent. So we'll be outside in the tent, and then I will try to broadcast through using the phone. We don't have Wi-Fi outside, so but yeah, we discussed being out there, and then I should be able to use my phone to help broadcast through Zoom, or you can watch the video the following day if you're not able to attend.
So the thing is, call the Center on the Hill and get the sign up, because you can only have like 15 people outside and 10 people inside.
Correct.
Only 15 people. Yeah. So sign up and I'll see you in person. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope everything is good. Have a great week and have a good month. And I'll see you in April.